You're listening to Last Word Radio, where you get the last word.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast, part of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. This is July the 23rd, 2018. With you today is myself, Carl, and the always wonderful Joel.
What up?
We are in the midst of a late July hockey podcast, which means I am very glad that we have 2 full weeks of news to cover, not just what has happened since the last time we did a show.
Oh, this is gonna be our 12-minute episode. We always have one every year. This is gonna be it.
This is the quick one. On today's show, we'll talk about some signings that have happened. I have a question for you, which I've been pondering about all day, and I didn't pre-warn you about it. So we'll talk about that in regards to contracts. The summer hot seat has a surprising, maybe not that surprising, but
not surprised at all.
An unsurprising selection, and we will get to that shortly. But first, before we get into any of that today, Joel, I want to let everyone know, obviously we've been talking about ATB here at the Fourth Line for quite some time, but we have a brand new thing that we want to let everyone know about. atb.com/hockey.
What?
Yeah, atb.com/hockey. That's where you should head to. So what it lets you know there is it lets you know that ATB sponsors hockey all the way from grassroots to the pro. They sponsor tournaments, clinics all throughout the province of Alberta. They host clients and their families at events with NHL players and alumni, all kinds of things for ATB customers. Head over to atb.com/hockey to find out more about the great people over at ATB and what they do for hockey in your community. Some signings, Joel. That's really all that's happened since we did the last show. There have been a substantial amount of re-signings, some of them more relevant than others. You said just now that you were very excited to talk about Troy Stecher. So why don't we jump straight into your Troy Stecher thoughts?
You really need to learn to pick up sarcasm a little better.
I'm waiting, Joel. I'm waiting. Troy Stecher.
I actually don't know. He's whatever. I don't know. Is he? I think Vancouver fans irrationally love or irrationally hate everybody. It's like there's
no middle ground with them.
Yeah, and I think he's an irrational love guy.
Yeah, his contract's medium. It's not great. It's not terrible.
It'd probably not be great. I guess he's whatever. We've talked longer about Troy Stecher than we really should.
All right, so let's jump in. Some of the ones of note from the last time we were here, because last time we were here, we talked a substantial amount about the, obviously, Nikita Kucherov extension.
Yep.
The next big one that came through was Connor Hellebuyck. He got a 6-year at $6.2 million contract to stay with the Winnipeg Jets. And this is what kind of like, to me, set the bar of like, oh, goalies are getting paid this offseason. Like, starting goaltenders are getting some money like they haven't before. Term and money. This seems like a change, does it not?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit higher than I probably would have expected, but it's not, like, crazy. I don't know. Like, I think the biggest thing is, like, how many good seasons has he had? Like, one for sure. Was he good the year before that?
He was above average, I would say. But certainly not as good as he was this past year.
So, like, I think they're paying for a little bit of what they're hoping he's going to be, which I think would worry me a little bit. But if he's obviously, if he's as good as he was last year, this is a great deal. If he can, he's only 25. Like, I don't mind investing in a good young goalie, but like Matt Murray, right? Like,
right.
You never know.
Yeah, it can come back and bite you, and it's not as good as what you once thought it would be, for sure.
Is like the other goalie contract is a little bit crazier.
Well, and that's what I mean. It got it started down that road of like, what is happening with goalie contracts? Because then after he signed that, Marc-Andre Fleury signed a 3-year, $7 million per season contract with the Vegas Golden Knights. And what's interesting about that is he still had another year left on his deal. So like this is a premature extension.
Yeah, so it's like what, 4 years and probably 26 million, something like that.
If you $27 million essentially over the next 4 seasons for 33-year-old Marc-Andre Fleury.
So 33-year-old Marc-Andre Fleury, 4 years, 26, or 37 for 25. Like for a 25-year-old Connor Hellebuyck for 6 years. Like obviously the Hellebuyck one's way better. Like whatever. Like Vegas is going to be fine. Like this probably isn't going to hurt them, but like I can't imagine like 37-year-old Marc-Andre Fleury is going to be any good.
No, that's not something you're going to be too excited about, but for sure, as much as like, so if any other team had have handed out this contract, it's much worse. And I don't like to look at a deal and be like, well, you can get away with signing a terrible contract because you have all this extra space. But it's true. They can get away with it because they do have it. And sure, you could say, well, 4 years down the road, they might not have that flexibility or whatnot, but they probably will. Like, who are they going to fill to the point where they have so much? They're not going to just be, they've shown already, they're not just looking to hand out contract after contract to people, long-term, big money deals. That's not a thing. And who would they even do that to, right? Like, there's not that many people in free agency that you can go out and sign.
Yeah, so it was just surprising. Like, I get it. Like, there's so much excitement. He had a great season, but like we've all seen Marc-Andre Fleury have a great season. He's probably gonna have a bad season now.
Yeah, so, he's been on all ends of the map.
So it'll be the thing that like I think the biggest takeaway from Hellebuyck at least is Tampa. You're probably not getting less than this
for Vasilevsky.
Like, yeah, you like because it's like even if Vasilevsky signs the same contract, that would be a deal
for sure.
Right? So this is now the lowest you're going to sign him for. You're not signing him for lower than that. So be aware. Yeah, I think that's probably like for me that's one of the biggest takeaways. Is
the impact it has on the rest of the market? Yeah.
So that'll be it's helpful a little bit because Tampa knows so Tampa's starting to figure out we know how much we're going to have to pay some of these guys. So like you're starting to understand what the ramifications are, but like Yzerman should be able to be like 6.1. We know that we're going to have to pay at least 6.1 because like I would say if Vasilevsky was signing in Winnipeg right now, he's probably getting 7.5 based off of this deal. But you might get him on a bit of a discount because apparently that's what Tampa does. Yeah,
the old Tampa discount. So Hellebuyck is currently sitting as the 6th highest paid goaltender going into next season. So that's why I look at it and I say, this is the changing of it. Because before it was like Price, Lundqvist, Bobrovsky, Rene, Rask. Those are deals that were handed out a long time ago. And since then, no goalie's really gotten Braden Holtby at peak Holtbyness only got just over 6, right? So I feel like we're moving into, and this is something I wanted to touch on a little later as well. I feel like as this CBA ends, you're starting to strongly see the players take control of the money that's coming out here.
Yeah, I don't know. But you also have guys. Yeah, it's weird. Goaltending's so weird when it comes to because you have guys like Corey Crawford getting. He's the 7th right now, so he'd be 8th with this Hellebuyck deal. It's just weird because he was never really that great. Like he was good. He's good enough for them to win the cup, but I don't think he was irreplaceable. And so
I would disagree with that. I would say that Corey Crawford earned the $6 million because this year we saw what a Chicago Blackhawks team without Corey Crawford does. and they fall apart in net.
Is Corey Crawford any better than? Like, is he any better than Ben Bishop? Ben Bishop, if the Chicago Blackhawks have Ben Bishop instead of Corey Crawford, they still win those cups.
Probably, yeah. I could buy that argument, but for sure it's not like they can just go out and find anyone. They would have to go make the effort to do that, right? Like, it's not like they could just go out and like replace him with Yaroslav Halak and be like, oh yeah, we can still win a Stanley Cup. Like, that's not happening.
But okay, I guess my point is, so like if we're looking at purely cap hits or like best, is Corey Crawford the 7th best goalie in the league?
Probably not.
And is he that much different than the 15th best goalie in the league?
Probably not.
That's my point, is that goalies are weird. Where, okay, so Patrick Kane, he's probably the best right winger in the league, right?
Yeah, I could buy that.
How much better is he than the 15th best right winger in the league?
A fair chunk.
So that's what I think with goaltending, you have like a couple of elites and you're only ever elite for a few years, it seems. It doesn't seem like you're elite for a very long time anymore. And as a goaltender, and then that second tier is just massive of how many just good enough goaltenders there are.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I think I've mentioned this on like, essentially if you fill every team with 2 goaltenders, you've got 62. So let's say you're looking at like, here's the 62 best players at a thing in the entire world. They're all pretty good. Yeah.
I just don't know. So like you look at a guy, I think like Carey Price, when he is healthy and at his best, there's no one close.
Right.
But how many other goalies are there really that are in that conversation right now? There's none.
Yeah, there's very few for sure.
And so I'm trying to think of like, and you have the goalies who you have goalies who could maybe do it, like Bobrovsky. He might pull off a season that puts him in a tier of his own, but he probably won't. So I think when it comes to goaltending, I think you just need to find a goaltender that's good enough, but figure out how to pay him less.
Right. So, like, for example, you guys, how long ago did you sign the Freddie Anderson deal? 2 seasons ago?
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, you paid Freddie Anderson $1 million a year less than Connor Hellebuyck's making. Mm-hmm. Now, I would for sure have rather signed Freddie Anderson. Even after the Ducks seasons, I would have rather had Freddie Anderson than Connor Hellebuyck. If you're saying you can have this guy and pay him $1 million less, I still would have picked that. Like, obviously.
And Hellebuyck may be the better goaltender. Probably is the better goaltender. Well, he was this past year. I don't know if, he hasn't proved it as much. But, I think that's how goaltending is going to go. Is who, you want a goalie that's good enough, but you need to find the one that's good enough that you can pay less than everybody else.
That said, $1 million in difference in salary at a very key position, not going to make or break your team.
No. So don't pay. So here's where it comes in. Don't get Corey Crawford. Don't choose Mike Smith over Corey Crawford or Frederik Andersen
to save $1 million.
To save $1 million.
Like you should still pay whatever it costs to keep that goaltender around. As much as Connor Hellebuyck might have, sure, maybe he should have made a little bit less. But if they said, you know what, we're not going to take anything less, you pay him. Goaltending is the one position that you 100% can and should hold a team hostage if you need to get paid.
So, but within reason. Because if you go, if you're crazy and you're like, oh, I deserve $3 million more than the next tier, then they're just going to be like, well, we'll pay you for one season, and then we're going to trade you, and we're going to go get one of these other guys that's good enough, and we can pay less.
For sure, but John Gibson, his contract, he's an RFA at the end of this season. Like, he should be for sure. Like, the Connor Hellebuyck deal, if I'm him, is also my minimum.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Is he better? Probably, maybe. He for sure gets hurt more, but that's my starting point, right?
I would argue, John Gibson, he's an interesting guy. I like that, because if he can stay healthy, he's probably that guy that's under 27, and I would pick as like the next elite goalie if he could stay healthy.
Right.
Like that would be, and which is, I don't know, is goaltending goalie? Like that's such a question with so many goalies. How many goalies are we like, that guy's so good?
Yeah, that guy's good if he's healthy. Yeah.
Like Matt Murray, John Gibson, Carey Price, like Frederick Anderson has gone through his.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
Corey Crawford. Marc-Andre Fleury, he's too old. Like he's he's past that point right now. But like Corey, like we're talking about Corey Crawford, and the thing is, he wasn't healthy all year, and everyone's saying, well, if he was healthy, the Blackhawks would be a playoff team, right? So you just have there are a lot of goalies, and we're probably even missing some that would be in this conversation of like, oh, they'd be great if healthy.
Yeah, I would say a substantial amount. But anyways, I feel like we've dived into this substantially and for a while, but there is a lot of goaltending, and the other kind of topic that I wanted to touch on is the RFA buyout of seasons, because we saw a substantial amount of players who were RFAs who became UFAs or bought out the UFA years. Do you feel like the amount of like buying out, I feel like you just get the same deal whether you're a UFA or an RFA now. It doesn't matter. I feel like like bridge deals, people think that they're a thing, and like Kucherov probably signed the last one of this CBA, I feel like.
Of like the really good ones. Of the star players. Like I don't think you're gonna see a ton of bridge deals, if any. They just don't really help anybody. They don't really seem to help the player. They don't really seem to help the team.
Well, because I feel like I look at all these deals and it's the exact same as what you would get borderline on the open market, right? So like, let's look at some of these deals that have been handed out. So like Matt Dumba, he signed a deal. He was an RFA, coming up, or sorry, he was about to become a RFA, and so they signed the extension. He got 5 years, $6 million per as the cap hit. And I feel like that's about what on an open market team, Matt Dumba probably would have just gotten that. Like, I feel like there was no discount because, you're buying out controllable years. I feel like that's not a thing that teams have as an advantage anymore.
That, or he got paid more than he should have. I don't know. I saw that contract and I was like, oh, that's a lot of money for Matt Dumba. Did you think he got? You think he got fair market value? Like I guess there's two ways of looking at this. He probably got what he would have gotten on the open market, but I still think he got more than you really want to pay him.
Yes, for sure. If my team was paying him, like, sure, he's a good defenseman. I wouldn't be terribly sad, especially on the open markets. You pay a lot because talented players don't really show up there much, but there was certainly no controllable years discount happening there by any means.
Well, and I don't think you really get discount. Connor McDavid didn't give a discount.
Well, they're right. And so I feel like the superstars, right? They don't give a discount because like pay me like a superstar, right? Like there was, who knows what that would be. We'll find out when, Austin Matthews and Patrick Laine signed theirs. Again, presumably no discounts happening there.
Oh, those guys are going to get, they're going to get, Jack Eichel's their bottom, right? So
yeah,
they're not getting less than that.
But like Elias Lindholm, he was an RFA. He got 4.85 for 6 seasons. There is no controllable discount there in the slightest.
Calgary's crazy though. I'm disappointed that we didn't get to rip on Calgary because like they're just making the most like head shaking decisions. And the thing is, and like I don't know, we're both in Calgary. I'm sure both of us have had conversations with Calgary Flame fans over the last few weeks and whatnot. And like people are like they're loving the direction of this team. And I was like, I don't know, like are they like are you just saying that because like you're a fan and you just want to be excited about it, or do you actually believe like? Do you believe like Elias Lindholm is going to be just like that's going to be a great deal for the next 6 years? Because like I really don't.
Yeah,
I really wouldn't be excited about that. I'd be like, why are we spending a lot of money? Like
we just finished spending a lot of money on Michael Fleury to play mediocre right wing, and now we traded for and are going to pay Elias Lindholm a lot of money to play mediocre right wing. Like,
well,
they're repeating their mistakes.
And we signed Troy Brouwer to play less than mediocre left wing. I don't know what position he plays.
Yeah, he also plays on the right side. They're just ever since Joe McGinley, they're just throwing all the money at people to play the right side on this team.
Doesn't James Neal play the right side? I don't like.
You could probably shove him over there for sure.
And like Lindholm. Apparently,
Neal should be. I believe their plan is to play him on the right side with Monahan and Gaudreau. So,
which is a great first line. That's a really good first line.
Yeah, you want that.
But their second line is really not good.
It takes a step back when you have Tkachuk, Backlund, and Lindholm as your second line. It takes a big step back when you have Sam Bennett, Michael Frolik, and who even cares on the left side. Good news, Joel. We still got to rip on the Flames.
Okay, we still got to. My favorite part is I'm currently on Hockey Reference trying to figure out who even cares how many goals he scored last year. It's 2.
Who scored 2 goals?
Who even cares?
Oh.
We got a little who's on first going on here. I just thought that was hilarious. It's apparently not as funny as I think it is.
I'm just confused. I feel like I missed a joke. No, I don't feel like I missed a joke. I missed a joke.
Oh,
and I'm not sure what it is.
No, it was your joke. I thought it was great. It wasn't that great. It's Monday, man. Don't blame me.
I'm not blaming. I blamed myself.
Blame Adam Henrique for signing 5x5 and change. Yeah. But did that happen before?
No, that's a new one too. Adam.
Oh
Henrique.
My goodness.
See, there's a lot when you don't record a hockey podcast for 2 weeks. When you record a blank line podcast in the middle, you get to talk about this. Adam Henrique, the same day as Elias Lindholm, he signed 5 years, $5.85, almost $6 million a season for Adam Henrique. And I like that contract better than the Lindholm one. Like of the 2 big deals signed that day, I'd rather have Henrique for $6 million than Lindholm for $5 million.
No, that's a day that you wish you stayed home and did nothing. That's what that is. Because, like, let me tell you about Henrique. That's like that doesn't even start this year. He's got another year yet.
Yeah,
that's not good. He's already 28. Like,
it's not the worst premature contract the Anaheim Ducks have ever handed to a centerman, though.
True. It's also not the worst contract on the Ducks right now. Like, it's probably not even it's not even in the top 4, probably.
It's like the 7th worst deal on this Ducks team right now.
They got some good little contracts on their D.
I was going to say, Kevin BX's contract's gone, so that's a thing that they don't have to worry about anymore. Yeah, there are a few bad contracts, but not many terrible, terrible ones.
I don't think I've ever seen a bad contract that's $800,000 though. This is a first.
The Luke Shen deal?
Yeah, that's bad. Like, he is a minus player. Not like plus minus, just like...
like he brings negative contributions to your team.
Yes, he is. He is probably worse than Roman Polak.
Well...
No, wait. Let me... He is significantly worse than Roman Polak, and Roman Polak is arguably one of the worst defensemen in the NHL.
Here's how bad Luke Schenn is. When you Google Luke Schenn hockey reference, Braden Schenn comes first as the first result. So even there, like, you meant Braden, right? Like his brother. You wanted him. That's how bad he is.
I'm trying to remember if was it Burke or was it Nonis that did the Luke Schenn for JVR?
Well, I'll tell you this. That trade happened in June of 2012, so we can look that up pretty quickly here. Those are while you look that up, those are the big signings that have happened. There was an arbitration case awarded. Jacob Trouba got 1 year, $5.5 million. And that's a situation the Winnipeg Jets need. A team that all they have to do this year is just lock people up. Jacob Trouba is a defenseman that this team needs desperately. Dustin Byfuglien, 33 years old, also old. Tyler Myers, 28 years old, plays like he's old. The rest of this defense core, not very good. Jacob Trouba is like, this is the piece they need on defense moving forward, and all they got is a 1 year deal out of him. Like, you need to use this time to be like, all right, Jacob, like, we're sorting this out. Because this is not the first time they've had problems there.
Well, this is the problem with the Trouba thing. Also, side note, it was Brian Burke. Trouba, I forget, who was it? I think it was Down Goes Brown. I don't know who. I'm going to give him credit. It might not have been him.
Okay, good luck. Thanks, Sean.
Apparently, guys that go to arbitration don't tend to make it out, like make it past RFA's status with the team. They usually go to UFA and leave soon.
Which makes sense.
Yes, because it means that you can't actually get on the same page, and so now you have problems. Like the Winnipeg Jets have problems with going, like, because this went to arbitration, it was ruled upon, and this is what the arbiter gave, and so like they didn't even come to a consensus.
Right, and that's the other thing is because as soon as you go to arbitration, you air all your dirty laundry about the player. So like it does not help any relationship. I have found hockey contracts, personal, otherwise, to just sit there and just have like an airing of grievances of like, here's all the reasons you're terrible and you deserve less money than you want. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, it's really not good. So like I would not be surprised if Winnipeg does not end up with Jacob Trouba on their team very soon.
That said, depending on how much hockey news there is the rest of the summer, maybe we just spend an episode doing that. Maybe I just say all the things that I don't like about you. You say all the things that you don't like about me, and just a social experiment to see how it works. A little example of arbitration. Sounds like a good idea?
Yeah. It's also our last episode, I'm guessing. So
that's how we go. That's one way to go with a bang, I guess.
Just, and then like the result of it is no more episodes and everyone hating both of us because we just talked about how terrible of people we were.
Yeah. We sell ourselves well.
I'm for this.
You thought the wrestling episode was bad. Wait till you see this one.
Nobody thought the wrestling episode was bad.
One person thought the wrestling episode was bad.
That guy can go fly a kite.
The Anaheim Ducks are bringing back the old jerseys. They have finally brought back the Quack, embracing the Duck as their third jersey this year for their 25th anniversary. Do you like it?
Whatever. They should have done this a long time ago. Shame on them. Now I don't even want to support them. Because like, if they had said, hey, we're now the Mighty Ducks again, then yeah, sure. I'd be all on board. But until they do that.
Until you bring back the Mighty?
Yeah. Come on. That was like one of the best names in sports. That was one of the best nicknames in sports.
I get the fact that like you have to pay it to Disney, but just pony up. Or Disney, just give it to them. Which Disney will never do. But come on.
I'm trying to think of like how you could sell it to Disney.
Well, you just give them a cut of all the merch, right?
Sure.
Like, you bring it back, and all of a sudden Disney's getting a cut of all. Well, Disney's not getting a cut right now. Presumably, they're not getting a cut of these third jerseys. I haven't seen whether they do or do not. But that's what you do: is you just give them a cut of all this, all the new swag when you bring back the Mighty.
They need to bring back the Mighty. Okay, side note. What team needs like an extra name to make their name that much better?
I think any team gets better with Mighty in it. Like, if we switched to the Mighty Fourth Line Podcast, we're better. Like, that doesn't hurt us in the slightest.
Like, I think it's Dallas.
What would you call, like, would you call the Mighty? What would you call the Stars? Like the Dallas Shooting Stars?
Yeah, that's it, obviously. Come on.
Okay.
Don't play. That's the one.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think every team could use from an adjective. Send in your ideas. Everyone listening, we won't sit here and go through all 31 teams. What would you add? I know the Leafs would probably be like the last one to actually get one. But if you had to add an adjective to the Toronto Maple Leafs, what would you add?
I don't know. I've been thinking about other ones already. Like the Carolina Fighting Hurricanes.
I feel like you'd go with like the Colorado Rolling Avalanche. Or something like that. Like Trembling Avalanche. I'm trying to... how else would you describe an avalanche in a way?
That's true. I'm trying to figure out how to say this so it sounds clever, but like somehow like the theme song from Jaws into the name of the San Jose Sharks. I don't know how you would do that, but like that's
just the shark sound, like when the shark comes up, like the da-na,
yeah, exactly.
Da-na.
Somehow you work that into the name that it would work.
I like that. Vegas doesn't get one because they already have Golden and Knights. That's your adjective, Vegas.
Yeah, they should have gone Vegas Starry Knights, though. That would have been better.
Yeah, so many potential things that they could have done that wouldn't have required them getting permission from the Army, which they got recently.
Did they get it?
They don't have to change their name. Yeah.
I didn't realize. I thought they would have figured that out like before they picked it.
Like before they played an entire season, sold a bunch of merch, and made it to the playoffs. No, they did not. They did not sort that out first. So there you go. Yeah, Vegas doesn't get one. If you think of one that you like, if you wish your team had an adjective in front of their name, send us what it would be. Let's go to the summer hot seat, Joel. We are doing a thing on the Twitter where you go and you pick a team for us to cover on the show every week. This week, there was 4 teams to pick from. Who is it that we had? We had the Calgary Flames, Chicago Blackhawks, Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah, them. And the winning team, the Columbus Bluejackets. And I feel like this was just a big sticking it to us after all we've been through. After all we've been through with the Columbus Bluejackets this summer, the fifth line really comes back to bite us.
So do we have to talk about them?
So now the people have spoken. They want to know our thoughts on the Columbus Bluejackets.
I hate them.
Like, just personally?
Well, you want to know some reasons?
Yes, please.
Okay, do. John Tortorella. That's one. I don't like that guy. Do you think like he falls in? He is the Mike Matheny of NHL coaches.
Yes, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
There's no doubt. So like
hey, when who's the probably when Brandon Dubinsky is bullying Seth Jones in the locker room, you know that Tort's like, grow up, Seth, deal with it.
Yeah. Because in all honesty, like, I think this team would be better with a different coach, probably. They would be. Tortorella is not a good coach anymore.
Well, he's a good coach for like a season or two.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like his first season was terrible. His second season was a bounce back because you couldn't be worse than he was that first season. And then you find someone else. Yeah,
your gimmick's old. Like, it gets old very quickly. Case in point, like you really like. No wonder Panarin wants out. Like, I wouldn't want to play for Tortorella.
Yeah.
So, and does he want out or does he want a contract extension?
Well, so this is the thing. He wants a contract extension somewhere else. And I think that is the biggest piece of news with this team is the fact that Artemi Panarin most likely he's being shopped. He's on the market right now. And I think every team, now that John Tavares sweepstakes are done, the Erik Karlsson sweepstakes have died down. The Artemi Panarin sweepstakes are hot and heavy.
Yeah, apparently Karlsson wants to stay in Ottawa now.
Now that old Mike Hoffman's in Florida, he's like, yeah, maybe I don't want to play in the same state as him.
Well, and maybe he wants to go to UFA. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, do you want like how much? Okay, if you're Colorado and let's say you wanted Panarin, what's the offer?
So I say this, anything from this conversation assumes that I get to talk contract with him and sign him like the second, essentially like sign and trade. Like I want him beforehand. I would for sure start with a pick, prospect, and a roster player is like, I'm very okay with it. And like a quality one. So if I'm actually using the Avalanche as my example, let me pull up their team right now so I can think about it. Now the Avalanche are a weird situation because I'm extra okay with them trading their own first next year because they also have Ottawa's first, which will be better. And so like if you took their first next year, if you took, like I know that they're going to be good, but like even if it was Connor Timmins or Cale Maker, I wouldn't be sad about one of them being in this deal. And then I don't know. I wouldn't include Rantanen as the third piece, but like I might be able to be convinced as like Tyson Yost as the third. Like I would pay a substantial amount.
That's a lot
for Panarin. He's very good.
Columbus would say yes to that in a second.
Yeah, but like that's what like I was
Cale Maker and Tyson Yost.
I was going with like what is the most I would go to. That would obviously, I wouldn't tell them that that's my starting point.
Okay, because like I would say yes to that immediately.
Because like, so the first is hopefully, especially if you add Panarin, it's going to become a lower first. So let's say it's a 20th overall pick. You've got that. You've got Maker who's going back to college, so he's at least a couple years away, and Tyson Yost is good, not great prospect. You've made your team better right now, which is a great thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm becoming more and more a supporter of just making your team good, especially when you've been bad. The Avalanche's farm system is shockingly stocked right now. So I'm okay with where they're sitting.
Yeah. All right. So, talk to me about this team. Convince me on why they would be better than, like, are they a playoff team next year?
Probably. Really? Depending on the Panarin situation. Let's assume Panarin's still on this roster come next year. This team is still an incredibly deep forward group. And that's one thing that's going to help them. Like, they are a team where, like, Panarin is the best player on this roster. It's not, that comparable, which is why we have to have this conversation assuming that their best player is still on this team. So for me, they have him. You've got, like a bunch of, again, good, not great players up and down this roster. And I feel like in a situation where Torts continually messes with the lines, you need that, right? Like you need to give Torts the options to fiddle with things so that it can work. Yeah. Side note, I didn't realize that Bobrovsky's a UFA after this year. that's a different conversation entirely as part of this Jackets thing. But with Panarin and Bobrovsky UFAs after this year, it's kind of the year you have to either get it done or pack it in.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. This team's just like got a lot of just like you said, like they got a lot of depth. They just don't have a lot of like who's their guy that like Seth Jones? That's the guy they're focusing around. If you're not going to sign Panarin,
yeah,
Cam Atkinson, sort of, I guess, but I don't know.
You hope Pierre-Luc Dubois continues to actually be good,
capable. At this point, I think you're just hopefully he's capable.
Oh, he was the third leading scorer on this team last year. Like that's more than capable for a 19-year-old.
Yeah, I guess that's true. He finally, because like there was a while there that I think everyone was worried that he was just like going to disappear.
Well, when he went back to junior after the draft, he became significantly worse.
Yeah, so maybe it was just one of those things that he like just had no motivation.
Yeah, why am I here? I don't need this.
So, yeah, I guess he even had a few goals in the playoffs. So, I don't know. This team, like, if you're a Columbus Bluejackets fan, are you actually excited? Like, who are you excited about on this team?
I'm excited about Seth Jones. I'm excited about Zach Werenski. For now, I'm excited about Artemi Panarin. I've probably re-excited myself for Pierre-Luc Dubois. And Bobrovsky. Like, for sure Bobrovsky. Like, if I was a Jackets fan, that would be the jersey that I would own is Bobrovsky. Who would you be getting on this team?
Seth Jones. Not really all that close.
No?
No, that's the guy.
A close second for me.
So, like, me, like, I don't know. I like Seth Jones. I think I still, like, that trade is somewhat worked out for both teams. But, like, I still, like, man, Seth Jones is a stud. That guy's good.
Yeah, he is quite...
Like,
if he was playing in a market that wasn't Columbus, we would be talking a lot more about Seth Jones.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Like, that guy's good. I like him. So, I don't like Nick Foligno.
No?
I don't know why. I never liked... Didn't his brother play for the Senators?
Marcus?
I don't know.
I'm going to go with Marcus.
No, this guy played for the Senators. This is the guy I don't like. Yeah, exactly. Forget this guy. Nobody likes you.
What team did his brother play for then?
No, I'm not.
His brother is Marcus. I think you're not a Foligno file.
I'm pretty sure Buffalo. I'm gonna go Buffalo.
Buffalo and Minnesota now. There
you go. Nick Foligno.
Let's play everyone's favorite game. Guess that country. Where is Nick Foligno from?
It's Canada or the States. Which one do I want? I'm gonna go Canada.
He's American.
Another reason why I don't like him.
The old Buffalo native. So what do you feel for this Jackets team next year? They're
probably the third best team in the division if they can. They could push. They probably have enough like mediocre above average talent that they could push Pittsburgh or Washington for one of those top two spots if they got rid of Tortorella and kept Panarin.
That's a big key.
Yeah.
Which I think for them to get rid of Torts, they would have to be terrible. So if they get rid of Torts at this point, they're not making the playoffs. Because it's much too late in the off season. Let me tell you how it goes when you fire or a coach leaves in August. It's not well, Joel. It's not good. Well,
yeah, probably. So you got them wild card or third? They're like I don't know. Obviously I'd be interested in talking about the Flyers because like that's a little interesting team.
I think the Flyers will be better this year. Especially, I'm very interested to see what Carter Hart does with that team.
Do you think is he going to make this team?
That's one of the things I'm interested to see. he's getting a chance, right? He will be given every chance in the world to make this team.
Over Nieverth and Elliott.
Yeah.
Because, you can send either of those guys to the AHL and not worry about losing them.
Yeah.
Interesting. I never really thought about that. See, that's the thing. So, if you don't think they're better than the Flyers, then you're talking about a wild card team again.
I think they're probably a wild card team again.
Which means they're probably the best wild team. They're going to be exactly where they were.
Probably, because I think there's, they technically finished with the same points as New Jersey last year. I think neither of these teams really got better this offseason, right?
Yeah, but New Jersey might they could just being that much older. Could be better.
Progressing, yeah.
Yeah,
and I would suspect, again, if healthy, Corey Schneider is a thing that is better than Keith Kincaid. Simply from the fact that Joel doesn't have Keith Kincaid blocked on Twitter.
I do.
Or Corey Schneider. He doesn't have Corey Schneider blocked on Twitter.
Yeah, Keith Kincaid is 100% blocked on Twitter. Yeah, I don't know. This is a borderline playoff team. You start going down these lines, they're a borderline playoff team. They're going to be fighting with. So they're going to be because I think New Jersey and Philly is probably better than them. So now you're talking about. You're now talking about Florida probably got better.
Yeah, I would say
hockey-wise, but emotionally worse.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know if that makes a difference. Carolina, I think they got better.
They for sure got better.
So the Islanders got much, much worse.
Yeah, the Islanders worse. The Rangers worse.
So Detroit, whatever. Ottawa.
Buffalo. Better. Yeah, a lot of almost every team below them got better. Or at least I would say half the teams below them got better. The teams above them kind of got better or stayed the same.
Which is not good.
Which you don't want.
In July, realizing we are a long ways from hockey, I don't think this is a playoff team.
I think they are. I would put them as the fourth team in that division, having them pop in as a wild card.
I don't think so. I think they missed the playoffs. I think because they were tied with New Jersey, 1 point off of Florida. Florida for sure got 1 point better. You got to think they did, at least.
Did they get 2 points better?
I think Columbus when they lose Panarin, they got about 10 points worse.
That's fair, right? If you lose Panarin, then you are for sure worse. So, that will be the determining factor of if this team is or is not a playoff team. Because again, you are not getting, unlike the Chicago Blackhawks who gave up Panarin for Brandon Saad, you're probably going to be getting back roster players and pieces and future prospects. You're not getting a 1-for-1 type deal. I can't hear you.
Yeah. You can hear me now.
Yeah. So there we go. The Columbus Bluejackets, ladies and gentlemen. You want to know the next 4 teams up in this summer adventure of ours?
Yeah, but I'm not making any comments on any of them.
I was going to say, I'm going to warn you, there's teams in this that we do not want to talk about. And I know 100% who's going to win this poll. Unless one team makes a strong push, I know who's winning this poll. We have the Dallas Stars, the Detroit Red Wings, the Edmonton Oilers, and the Florida Panthers. Those are the 4 teams that you have to choose from next week. So if you head to the Fourth Line Podcast's Twitter account, which is at Fourth Line Podcast, as soon as this episode is posted, you will be able to vote on the next team that you want covered in the Summer Hot Seat Series.
I'm interested to know who you think is going to win that. I have no idea.
I'm not going to comment on it because I don't want to skew it. Last time, you said you did not want to talk about the Columbus Bluejackets, and then we did. So we're not doing that again.
Yeah. Well, who do you like talking about terrible teams that nobody cares about?
It was I think it was timely because we haven't touched much on the Panarin situation. So it was good. One last thing before we leave this. Lots of talk, as there is because hockey media is filled with Toronto-ness. Lots of talk about him going there. One, do you think is there a way that that's possible? No. And would you be happy with what it would cost to trade for him and for essentially one season? Because
if he's not going to the Leafs because the Leafs aren't going to pay what you would have to pay to get him for an extension because they wouldn't want to extend him.
Well, unless you give one of the guys who need another deal up.
Yeah, but why? Why would you do that?
I don't know. Maybe you think that Artemi Panarin is better than Nylander.
Yeah, he probably is.
I would say he is.
Yeah, but they're not doing a 1-for-1, and then you have to pay Panarin more. You just get into bigger cap issues. He's not going to the Leafs. Silly. Okay. It's just Toronto being Toronto. Silly Toronto.
But that as soon as there's a trade, people are like, or not people, TSN, all they want to do is trade William Nylander for anyone. The fact that they could trade him for Panarin now, that's the dream.
Yes, I like William Nylander. I don't want to trade him. There's very few players I would trade William Nylander for.
Well, Artemi Panarin should be one of them. Just a heads up.
No, not I guess if you're giving him an extension, but for one season, no. Forget that.
Oh, yeah, not for one season for sure. Well, you can vote on the next team that we cover. If you want it to be the Detroit Red Wings, you can do that. Dallas, Detroit, Edmonton, and Florida. It will be on the Fourth Line pod. Is that right? 1, 2. Yes, that's right. Because this list I'm looking at is wrong. Because it's old. Because it has Arizona listed as Phoenix.
There you go.
Even though this list was created in March of 2018. So, turns out, Joel, that you cannot trust the director of communications at Vitamix to provide an accurate alphabetical order list of NHL teams.
Why? I don't even want to know why that's the list you're using.
Because that was the first one I found. I'm not going to name him by names. I'm just going to shout out his title. So he can't communicate properly about Vitamix. They're not supporters of the Alberta Podcast Network. So they get no promotion on the quality products that they give because there may not even be quality. But their director of communications can only communicate about vitamins, not hockey alphabetical teams. Anything else you wanted to touch on this week before we wrap her up?
I don't think so. I think that's about as in-depth as you can get in the middle of July.
Yeah. So next week we'll be coming with who knows what. There's a lot that we can touch on. I know Joel made some comments on the Twitter this week, which kind of had me stirring some thoughts. Maybe we ran out of time this week, but maybe next week we'll get into those. You can find us on Twitter at Fourth Line Podcast. You can find us at thefourthlinepodcast.com, where you can find out how to subscribe. If you're an iTunes or Apple podcaster, you can head over there. We'll give you everywhere. If you want to subscribe to us, give us a review. You can find us anywhere. You can find information about the Alberta Podcast Network at albertapodcastnetwork.com, where we have added a bunch of new podcasts and have a revamped page. So if you say, I want to know what shows are on the Alberta Podcast Network, head over there, and on the main page, before they were alphabetical, which I personally loved. You know why, Joel? Because I guess I should wait for you if I'm going to ask a question. I loved it because they said, you know what goes first? Numbers go first. And so Fourth Line Podcast became the number one item on their list. Now, unfortunately, sports is fourth down on the list. We fall under hockey, as well as the Hockey Feels podcast. So if you want, it is greatly organized. You can head over there and find out all of the different types of shows that are on the Alberta Podcast Network. There is technology, there is gaming, stories, football, soccer, hockey. There are political and social issues, education, as well as business, pop culture, movies, etc. All the categories, all the things that you need at AlbertaPodcastNetwork.com. And until next week,
Boom City.